The Sword of Night and Flame was allegedly nerfed in patch 1.03. I did not have the chance to use the weapon before the nerf, so I'm unfamiliar with its pre-patch power. However, even 2 years after the release of this game, the Sword of Night and Flame slaps hard, much like how that Chem 102 exam slapped my GPA freshman year. Before we get into the highlight of this weapon, that being the Ash of War, we need to talk about how strange this weapon is. Most weapons deal a single type of damage, some weapons deal split damage, inflicting more than one type of damage at once. The Sword of Night and Flame is unique in that it deals triple split damage, that being physical, fire, and magic. That means that the attacks with the sword are dampened by all 3 defense types of the enemy. There are many enemies in the game that have good resistance to at least one of these damage types. For a weapon with only 1 or 2 damage types, there will be some fights where it excels and some where it struggles. The Sword of Night and Flame will just do okay damage in every fight with its R1s and R2s. Take that as you will. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the 3-way split damage. Next is the weapon requirements, which are insane, and will almost never be reached naturally unless you're making a build with this weapon in mind. 24 for both intelligence and faith is a high ask, and likely won't be reached until mid to late game, especially if you set aside necessary points for vigor, mind, and endurance. Once you have met the requirements, be sure to utilize both aspects of the weapon art. Whether you decide to spec into faith or intelligence, both the beam and the fire wave will do impressive damage, so focus on one type of damage and mix it up whenever it's appropriate for your fight. For my build, I focused heavily on the fire wave, since enemies like Radigan, Melania, and every single Erdtree avatar have varying susceptibilities to fire. I used the Fire Scorpion Charm, Golden Vow, Flame Shrouding Cracked Tear, and the Shard of Alexander. I didn't use it, but Flame Grant Me Strength is also a great option. With said buffs, the fire wave will do thousands of damage per cast. Just make sure you have enough time and FP to get one off. Before we get into the stats of the build, be sure to subscribe if you enjoy these videos, and leave any weapon suggestions in the comments down below. I've gotten quite a few recommendations recently that will be made into videos in the near future. For stats, I ran with 60 Vigor, 20 Mind, which is an absolute minimum because of the hefty cost of that Ash of War, 30 Endurance to light roll, 24 Intelligence, and 60 Faith. If you want an overpowered Ash of War focused playthrough, you cannot go wrong with the Sword of Night and Flame.